Thanks for joining us. This is To the Point. And Governor Newsom has 4 more days to sign bills into law. He's passed and vetoed dozens of bills over the weekend, and a major one that was cut was SB 70, which would have made kindergarten enrollment mandatory for 5-year-olds in California. And this comes as kindergarten enrollment is declining in the state. The California Kindergarten Association found that about 5 to 7% of students didn't attend kindergarten before the pandemic. But from 2019 to 2021, kindergarten enrollment dropped by over 13%, due in part to fears of COVID exposure and parents not wanting to have their kids learn virtually. Now, in a statement, the governor emphasized the importance of early learning, but noted that the bill would cost up to $268 million a year. He said in part the state revenue is lower than expected and that, quote, we must prioritize existing obligations and priorities, including education, healthcare, public safety, and safety net programs. And that brings us to tonight's main point. While elementary school attendance is dropping, there are not enough teachers to fill the classrooms. The California School Board Association tells us that the state needs about 100,000 more teachers to provide high quality education for students. So we're speaking with local teachers and experts to try to get to the bottom of what's going wrong and what's being done to remedy the issue. Tonight, we're looking at how the classroom environment has changed in a world with cell phones, increased political tensions, and an ongoing pandemic.
To be a teacher in California right now, it's kind of the worst of jobs and the best of jobs.
Between the political pressures and post-COVID, teachers in California, and I should probably only speak for myself, are tired.
I teach freshman English 3 days away from the end of my 28th year.
I teach AP Psychology, and I've done 30 years in the state of California.
Hey guys, on your reading question.
Kim Carroll and Dave Wallace both teach high school within the Roseville Unified School District. They have seen decades of change.
Kids haven't changed. Their world has changed. To be a teenager in 2022 is not the same as being a teenager in the 90s.
I'm just gonna say it, the phone has changed so much. The phone has changed so much. When I started teaching, to begin a class, there was always this process you had to go to quiet kids down, because they're all talking to each other. They're not talking to each other. They're all sitting in their desks staring at their phones. And so to get the class started, you have to get the phones out of their hands. That has all sorts of ripple effects. It's harder for kids to work in groups with each other because they're not used to socializing in the same way that kids used to.
Enter the pandemic, which forced students to stay home, go through online learning, and also experience mental health issues.
Things have changed dramatically since the pandemic, honestly. And one of the biggest problems that I'm hearing over and over again is student behavior. Student behavior since the pandemic, probably because of problems with social emotional issues, has really gotten bad in some classrooms, and teachers have left. There's one teacher in a row C who is like a year from retirement, eligible for retirement, and she just decided it wasn't worth it, moved to Oregon. Not to be a teacher, just moved to Oregon and retired because the student behavior was so bad that she was having panic attacks in her car before school every day. Kids were yelling at her, screaming at her, and so she just couldn't do it anymore.
The job of teaching has become more complicated. We're also social workers in a lot of ways. We are mental health counselors to a certain extent. Students who were not on campus, who were on Zoom for an extended period of time, the behavior is very different. They're a lot more immature coming into high school. I think it's the academic skills in terms of how to be a student, how to study, how to work in a group, how to focus on an assignment, concentrate on it, see it through to the end, resiliency, not just giving up.
During COVID, there were no extracurriculars. They didn't work jobs. They didn't have soccer. They didn't have clubs on campus. They just did school. So now when they're back in school and wanting to do all those things, they don't know how to juggle school and those things. So we're having to reteach them. In all of my classes, for as long as I can remember, I have talked about wanting them to leave better human beings. That as a social science teacher, I want them to be more aware that there are more perspectives in the world than they even know of, and to ask questions and to listen. Learn to listen, to be good listeners. They'll end up being better friends. They'll end up being better sons and daughters. They'll end up being better partners in life if they can learn to listen and to accept other perspectives.
Let's not forget the politics of COVID-19.
I am officially declaring a national emergency.
Tackling this pandemic is a national emergency, akin to fighting a war.
Big political changes in the country.
This is a really serious problem. We haven't even begun to see the end of it yet.
Now,
The schools have become political sources of tension in the country. I could see someone not wanting to face those sorts of pressures and say, I can find a job with this company where I could work from home, or I can go work for the state, and a lot of the state jobs you can work from home, and they also have a good pension and good health care, and so it might be something that would dissuade them.
We were heroes for about 5 minutes, and then it was like, you can't pick your own books anymore. I mean, we're hired by the state of California. We have standards, we have all of those things. But just that extra pressure from politics, from parents, from those things are new, that would potentially scare me out of the profession at this point. I'm seeing more considering things in education outside of teaching. More of them thinking, I think I want to go to the county level. I think I want to go to the district level. I think I want out of the classroom. Not necessarily wanting to leave the profession of education altogether, but wanting to find ways to love what they do, but not do it in the classroom anymore. And that makes me sad, because I feel like there's some amazing teachers who have real connections with kids that are burning out.
and we do want to hear from any current or former teachers that are watching right now. Let us know your thoughts about the changing landscape in classrooms. All you have to do is just email us at tothepoint@abc10.com. And just hours ago, police arrested a 23-year-old man in connection to a deadly shooting in Midtown. And this was just one of the suspects. Police say that it appears that 2 people fired shots outside of a busy bar. This is the 3rd deadly shooting in the downtown area so far just this year. Giacomo Luca is live in Midtown with more on what we know right now. Giacomo.
Well, Alex, the Sacramento Police Department said that over the past 24 hours, they've been able to track down that suspect. They say his name is Michael Escobar. He's 23 years old, and he was brought into custody today after a SWAT team in Yolo County assisted the Sacramento Police Department with this. Again, all of that coming after him being on the loose for just over 24 hours or so. He's accused of that shooting, resulting in yet another death in downtown that is shaking the community. I spoke with a witness who was inside Bar West when that incident broke out.
1, 2, 3, and then you see everybody ducking down and running up the stairs. Sacramento is a great place. This is the capital. This is supposed to be, where we're supposed to all have fun and enjoy ourselves, And it's like certain people, I feel like ever since COVID happened, they've forgotten themselves.
We're tired of the gun violence in our city, quite honestly, in all parts of our city and not just downtown. And we are focusing our officers based off of our violent crime plan, which is data driven. We're looking at spots where we're having these issues in our community and where we're deploying our resources.
Now, that was Zach Eden with Sacramento's Police Department, who says they are focusing their resources both in the downtown area and across the city using that data-driven focus in order to get resources to the places that they believe is necessary. But they say they really can't do it alone, saying that it's the responsibility really of everyone, including the nightlife community, saying that both guns and drugs or alcohol do not mix.
And Giacomo, I want to ask you before we go here, how does the K Street mass shooting play into all of this?
Well, certainly, as you heard from that witness that was at Bar West, there is a lot of folks here, both in the downtown area and really across the city, that have serious concerns tonight, Alex, and have for the past several months in the wake of that mass shooting that killed 6 people, injuring 12 others, about whether or not it is safe to come downtown. Alex?
All right, Giacomo, thank you so much. We appreciate it. Weeks ago, we told you about Geico closing its offices, and now other insurance companies in California are also cutting back. After the break, why they are blaming the state for risking a crisis. A car insurance crisis in California is brewing. Several major insurance companies and associations like Allstate, Geico, and also State Farm are now saying that California regulators are risking a crisis by refusing to approve any rate increases since the start of the pandemic. California, of course, is the largest auto insurance market in the U.S., but multiple companies are cutting back because they say they're operating at a loss. Now, you might remember just weeks ago, Geico abruptly closed all of its brick and mortar stores in the state. An insurance lawyer told us then that state regulations have made it very difficult for insurance companies to operate here. So when it comes to car insurance, California's insurance commissioner, Ricardo Lara, said that these companies overcharged customers when traffic dropped at the beginning of the pandemic and that they need to be reimbursed. Now, insurers refunded $2.4 billion with a B dollars during the pandemic, but Lara says that that falls short of what some customers are owed. And meanwhile, multiple insurers reported paying more in claims than what they made in California last year. After the break, the kelp needs your help, so we'll have more on that. Tragedy struck in Sacramento 50 years ago when a plane crashed through an ice cream parlor, killing 22 people. And this Saturday marked the anniversary of the crash. Loved ones and first responders gathered at the crash site to honor the lives that were lost that day and also to celebrate the positive things that emerged from this tragedy, like the birth of the Firefighter Burn Institute and then later the Regional Burn Center on the UC Davis Medical Center campus. Tonight at 10:30, we are airing a special edition of To the Point to take a look at this crash and how it changed our city forever. I sat down with some of the first responders who answered the call that day, and they are sharing their stories for the very first time. Here's a glimpse at just some of what you'll see tonight.
It was carnage. It was just a disaster. I heard the crash. I saw the smoke.
Came in on the county that a jet had lost its fuel tanks, and the fuel tanks had fallen into the Crossroads Shopping Center. So on a Sunday, I didn't even think about Farrell's being there.
We got trouble. You know, that's just the only way I could describe it. The flames and the explosion. At the time this occurred, this was the largest air-ground disaster in the history of the United States.
To walk in and see an F-86 aircraft parked inside the restaurant, that was just totally bizarre.
You see hundreds of things in your life, but I'd never seen or have seen since so many kids in a location, perish. It's intense.
It continues to have an impact on you when you go to a scene like that.
Make sure that you tune in tonight at 10:30 for this special edition of To the Point to hear about stories untold until now. All right, let's go ahead and turn to the mosquito fire, our area's biggest fire so far this summer that's destroyed dozens of homes. Crews are still watching for flames in El Dorado and Placer counties, and now PG&E could be on the hook once again. So Reuters reports that as part of a fire investigation, the U.S. Forest Service removed and took possession of one of PG&E's transmission poles and equipment back on Friday. The utility reported this in a filing, and we do want to be clear, no cause of the fire has been determined yet. Coming up tonight on a ABC 10 special edition right after Monday Night Football. Over the years, we've shown you CAL FIRE helicopters and planes that are used in fighting wildfires. But until this wildfire season, CAL FIRE's air attacks have been limited to daylight hours. Tonight, Becca Habegger shows us this game-changing new fleet of helicopters allowing CAL FIRE to douse flames in the dark.
2 toilet paper tubes and put them over your eyes and turn off the lights, and that's your field of view. It requires us to have to do things that we're not used to doing when we're flying during the day, and that's big head movements, being able to pick up hazards, a lot more communication going on in the helicopter.
Now, it takes about 300 hours to train a pilot on this new technology, and that training is happening right here in Sacramento. To catch the story tonight on ABC 10 after Monday Night Football, you can see it all right there. All right, from land to sea, California is feeling the effects of climate change, but some animals are helping heal the environment. The end of September is dedicated to sea otter awareness, and California is home to thousands of otters that help keep ecosystems in balance. But that wasn't always the case. They were hunted for their thick fur back in the 17 and 1800s. Meteorologist Carly Gomez went to find out how the effects are being seen decades later.
There was about 50 sea otters left in California. And so from 50 to 3,000 is, a nice increase, but there's still a long way to go.
The Monterey Bay Aquarium's otter rescue program started off as a way to increase a declining population. First, it started after fur hunting. Now, otters are dying from shark bites.
Came out recently with researchers at the Monterey Bay Aquarium showing more white sharks being found in the Monterey Bay region, and it is thought that this can be related to increasing warmer waters.
Abandoned baby otters are taken in by the aquarium and given a surrogate mother, then released back into the wild. The program has proved to be successful. As populations grow, researchers found the kelp forests are also thriving.
By consuming urchins, they help keep that population in check and keep that whole ecosystem in balance so that we still have those healthy kelp forests as well.
For decades, kelp forests were being ripped apart by sea urchins. Similar to our dry land forests, kelp forests take in CO2. By doing so, they take it out of our atmosphere and slow the release of greenhouse gases.
Kelp forests also help in providing nursery habitats for other sea life, invertebrates, fish, and they also act as protection from extreme weather that may become more severe or more frequent with climate change.
All right, let's take a look outside. Fall has begun, but it is still definitely hot outside. A quick check of our Gilmore backyard here. Sacramento is seeing at 91, Stockton at 93, Tahoe at 76 degrees, and a quick check of our 10-day forecast here. You can see still seeing those 80s, and then we get right into the 90s as we get closer to the weekend. Months ago, NASA hurled a spacecraft toward an asteroid, and it impacted just about 40 minutes ago, actually. Now, Earth is not in any imminent danger, of course, we would let you know, but NASA wants to make sure that that is very clear. But the DART mission, the Double Asteroid Redirection Test, is the first attempt at protecting the Earth should an asteroid one day threaten our place in space. And it involves crashing a spacecraft directly into an asteroid. So ABC 10 meteorologist Brendan Minchef is here. So besides what is DART, why are we crashing into asteroids, Brendan?
It's all in the name of planetary defense, Alex.
Okay, good. It's all for a good cause.
It's all for a good cause, if you will. The movie Armageddon might come to mind. We sent some space shuttles up and some people to drill into the asteroids.
Not how I want to think about Earth.
Not how this would work in real life. The way this would work is, we would just send up some spacecraft with the idea that if we crash into it with enough speed and enough force, then it might be able to push the asteroid or whatever it is away. And so that's what happened today. Like you said, about 40 minutes ago, we crashed into this asteroid. It has a 12-hour orbit around the larger asteroid.
Okay.
So we're not going to know for a little while still if it had any impact. But we spoke with a NASA scientist earlier today. There you can see the last few images before impact. Yeah, we spoke with a NASA scientist. Here's kind of what she had to say.
This is the first test. So we've never done this before, and we're going to learn a lot about it from this test. And so we're starting with a system that's far enough away that it's not a threat. It's close enough we can observe, and that the spacecraft, given our modeling of it, we expect it to change the orbit by about 1%.
So we're really hoping to see what? A minor difference of 1%, she said?
A minor difference, only about a 1% difference. It's not a threat, so the idea wasn't to make a big impact. We just kind of wanted to see if this is something we could do if we ever have an asteroid that, again, kind of threatens our little neck of space, that we'd be able to kind of push it away just by crashing into it.
Are they going to do one more test?
This is it. This is the only test that's planned, at least for now. We'd have to send something else up if we wanted to do it again.
All right. Thank you so much. We
Absolutely.
appreciate it. That's our show for tonight. Hey, it's Alex. Just wanted to say thank you so much for watching. I really love hearing from everyone, and I hope that you'll stay in touch. Reach out to me on Facebook at AlexBellTV, or you can email me at tothepoint@abc10.com, or you can even send me a text message at 916-321-3310.